This video is sponsored by Squarespace, but more on that later. Hi friends, my name is Al, a little star nerd. Today, we are just doing a plain and simple draw with me sketchbook spread type of video. I haven't gotten to do a lot of drawing, a lot of sketchbook work, which we all know has been an issue for me for a while, and it's something that I want to work on. That's also what kind of today's discussion topic is going to be about, kind of dealing with the loss of your creative spark. I feel like looking at the last months worth of videos, I feel like I haven't made any just straight up art videos. I probably have during Christmas, but they were ones that I pre-filmed, so to me it feels like I just haven't made any art in a while. So we're gonna go very much back to basics. We're literally just gonna fill a sketchbook spread, do some old classic little star nerd art. We're gonna use alcohol markers, figure drawing, gonna be great. Before we get started, I also wanna thank my patrons. Your names are on screen. Thank you so much for supporting me. I will put a picture on screen of this month's sticker and postcard. Every month we do fun exclusive stuff over there, and I'm also really looking to kind of amp it up in 2024 and put more of an emphasis on Patreon. So if you want to support me, if you want to check it out, if you want fun goodies, go check it out. The link is down below. Thank you so much to those who are already supporting me over there. You're the best. All right, without further ado, grab your own sketchbook, grab something to work on. I always love when we have these little art dates, so grab something for yourself to work on. I really hope it's something personal, but I get it, we're busy. Maybe it's work, maybe it's homework, whatever it is, grab it, sit down, let's go do some art. Let's go. We're gonna start off the discussion here with the topic I introduced in the intro, and then at the end, we're gonna talk for a bit about the spread itself, process, the thought behind it. You all know I love a good art discussion, but we're gonna start off with talking about losing your creative spark, kind of losing your motivation to make art and trying to find it again. What can we do to fix that? This was something someone requested I discussed when I asked for some voiceover topics a while back, a few months back, and I saved it for later because I think it really is a great discussion. It's a wonderful topic to talk about. And I think it's especially great for me to talk about now because it is something that I'm kind of dealing with right now. I've talked about this a few times on my channel, but years ago, I went through this phase where I just completely lost all desire to draw. I lost my love for it, my passion for it, my motivation, my inspiration. I was so beyond blocked that I thought I would literally give up art forever. It wasn't that, oh, I can't draw right now. It was like, I truly did not care if I ever would draw again, and I won't miss it if it means nothing to me. And that was a weird and kind of scary place to be. You know what I mean? It was weird. At the time, I wasn't making YouTube videos. I was posting on Instagram, but I wasn't making money from it. So I just stopped drawing for a while. I had the ability to just stop for a month. Okay, well, I also want to say, I feel like every time I tell this story and stories like this, it's different every time. The details change. I have a really horrible memory. I think every time I retell the story, I'm telling it based off of the last time that I told the story with the new context of why am I telling the story? I'm not really I'm not basing the story off of remembering the events themselves. So bear with me. My point still stands, but if you go back and you're like, this isn't what you said last time, I can't remember anything. So anyways, I stopped drawing for about a month. I think if maybe every once in a while, I would maybe feel the urge to do a doodle here and there, and I would do it. But overall, I just stopped drawing almost entirely. It was right about when I moved from Virginia to Florida, when I graduated college, and I think my sketchbooks were packed up, and I did not even worry about unpacking them. I didn't miss it. I didn't care. It was very, very bizarre. Nowadays, I don't have the ability to just completely stop drawing for months at a time since this is my full-time job. Back then I could just stop and it was okay, if I stop, if I'm done, I'm done forever. There was no pressure to get back into it, and I could wait until it naturally came back. But now this is my full-time job and I have to keep going. So right now, even though I'm feeling like I am somewhat losing that creative spark, not to that extreme, but I still kind of am. I wasn't really sure what to do about it at first because I couldn't just take a break from it like I wanted to. This time, like I said, it's definitely not as extreme. I definitely go through very frequent waves, especially because every week I'm making, not every weekend am I making an art video, but I'm pretty frequently making art videos. And every time that happens, I feel that wave of feeling inspired and motivated and excitement for art again. For this video specifically, doing the spread, I was like, yeah, I feel really great about this spread. You know what I mean? I still have the itch and the urge to make art plenty often, but there is definitely a lack overall of what can only be described as a creative spark. I'm having to find new ways to deal with it and how to take care of it and myself, and it's been a bit difficult to navigate. The biggest obstacle that I'm facing is the lack of personal art. That's where I'm seeing that I'm feeling the lack of creative spark, is I'm noticing that I never have the desire to work in my sketchbook, to make personal projects. I have so many other things and projects and life stuff going on, and it takes so much energy and time that when I do have the opportunity to make my own art, like when I'm done with work for the day, I'm too tired or creatively burnt out to do it. Half the time I look at my sketchbooks and I feel like I'm looking at a history textbook. I look at my old art, even the stuff that I've always put on a pedestal in my head as like my peak, my most creative self. I look at it and I see nothing there. Like I don't see anything. I finish with my workday and the only thing I want to do is get away from art. It feels like I've drawn myself into a corner. If you're feeling similarly, even just sometimes, like for me, it's not every day. Like there are days that I feel fine, but for like months now, there have been plenty of days where I feel like this. And if you are too, you still want to do art, but you feel so weirdly separate and far from it. Like you can't remember how you used to be good at it or how you used to enjoy it. It's like you're looking through a window, right? I think it's important to start at step 1 of figuring out why. Is it because you're burnt out? Have you been doing too much art? Do you have to fit it in between 2 jobs and you're always scrambling to find time for it? Are you studying it for school or doing it for your job and you don't like working under deadlines or being told what to draw and how? Take some time to take a step back from art in whatever way you can afford. Whether that means taking a week off from art entirely or only doing what you have to complete for work or school and skipping on personal work, whatever that means for you. Take a break for at least a week, right? And think on what's bringing you the most stress in life, or like when you're thinking about art, what stresses you out when it's like, oh my gosh, I need to do art. What comes to your head first? What's draining you the most? Think back to when you felt most inspired and excited about art. What is different between then and now? Maybe you'll have an obvious answer. Maybe you won't have an answer at all. Maybe it's like nothing's different or nothing, there is no reason. Maybe it's a problem you can do absolutely nothing about or you're gonna have to wait out. Maybe it's something that you can really easily solve, leave behind, and feel a lot better right away. Either way, no matter what, step 1 is not the first and last step. There's more to do. I think creative spark is not motivation, it's not inspiration, it's not about being art blocked necessarily. I think those things can all contribute, obviously, but they're not one and the same. If you're art blocked, you're not necessarily losing your creative spark. I think creative spark is a bit more long-term. I think it's like literally your passion and connection to art. There's not a real way to explain this in a way that's not going to sound overly philosophical, but it's like art feeding your soul, right? Like a deeper connection. And for some reason, right now, your soul is just not hungry for art. So what can we do to fix that? We've got to get your appetite back up. So first of all, let's do our absolute best to take care of ourselves physically and mentally, of course, which I know is way easier said than done. But for me, I know my brain and body always crave more and feel more alive and awake when they're getting more stimulation, exercise, letting energy out. I think we need that proper balance, and it's going to affect everything in your life. So that's, I think, the easiest to say. Get out of the way first. It's certainly not the easiest to do. But 2, let's feed your soul airplane kitty style, right? I've been treating myself with kid gloves when it comes to art lately. Okay, let's get up, let's walk a lap, do some pieces of a puzzle, have a snack, drink some water, and then we can refocus. I want to get some art done, but literally no art subject interests me anymore. I'm not feeling it, I'm not getting it. That's okay. Let's just do what's easy, like what is easiest and what I know used to be fun. I'm trying to experiment and draw like a kid, anything to get myself intrigued and excited again, but like from specifically like a childlike point of view. I bought a new art supply that had been intriguing me for a while, and I finally got to play with them and found that I absolutely loved them. And even that alone, just like doing that one indulgent thing that is new and different and exciting, that alone has gotten me way more excited about my sketchbook than I have been in a really long time. Do something new that will get your brain working similarly to how it needs to work when you do art. So like, I say this all the time, but I'm not good at collaging. I don't see it as a serious art form for me, but it's something really fun. So I could be focusing on collaging right now. Maybe try something new entirely with art, a new medium, but go in with the intention of being bad. Pick up a new hobby for your brain to fix on for a short amount of time. Indulge yourself a little, drop a bit of coin on some nice yarn to try and crochet a scarf for a week and then abandon it. Who cares? Follow your gut, treat yourself a bit, have fun, be a little silly, be a little like childish. Don't force yourself to do art that you don't have to do. Do it if and when you feel like it. This has been something that I have really been implementing for the past few weeks, and I've already noticed like a change. I've somewhat forgotten about my sketchbook deadline. If it happens, great. But overall, I'm just not making myself pick up my sketchbook. I don't go like, oh, I really need to get sketchbook work done today. But I've noticed as I've let myself go more and more with my sketchbook, I'll have these feelings of like, I would really like to be working in my sketchbook. So I pick it up, I take it out and, sit in front of the TV, and I have it open in front of my lap, and if something comes to me, I draw. And that is happening more and more lately, and I feel myself gravitating more and more back to my sketchbook. So only do art when you feel like it. I think that already will make a difference, I hope. Give yourself some excuses to make bad art purposely, draw with your wrong hand, do some blind contours, draw with crayons, draw with friends, especially friends who say that they're terrible at drawing. Go on a search to find the fun in art again, the childlike joy in art. Don't put it into fancy philosophical adult words. Don't put it in the context of an aesthetic art YouTube video. I think we've all gotten a little bit wrapped up in that. Just be a kid for a second. Be silly and carefree and see art as a fun activity that you get to do. Don't think about it too hard. I think we're all wrapped up in, especially, it's the new year, and I love having art goals. I have art goals. I'm not saying to not do that if you want to, but I think we can get really wrapped up in I need to be grinding. I need to be making money. I want to be a creator online, and I want to do art online, and I get it. But that comes with so many expectations that we put on ourselves, and I think we just forget to have fun. So those are the things that I have been doing and craving, things that some of those bits of advice are things that I haven't done, but I would love to do. It's what my body is craving right now to help cultivate that creative spark again. And so far, like I said, it is slowly and steadily working. I think a lot of it has to do with timeline, which can be out of our control, right? I am waiting until my plate is a lot more empty before I think I'll really be able to properly re-embrace art. I think it will be rocky for a few months until I'm done with projects like the graphic novel. But for now, I've been looking at my sketchbook time and art as a fun activity that I get to sit down and do with myself as if I'm babysitting me. You know what I mean? It takes time and patience, which we don't always have access to. It can be scary and overwhelming and frankly lonely. I don't think it's as simple and straightforward as burnout and art block, because I think sometimes it can come on for absolutely no reason, and it can stay for a long time with no explanation. As of my experience with it now, I'm in the midst of it. I'm not out of it yet. I think it's really helpful to see art differently. Instead of kind of rearranging recontextualize art itself. I'm trying to remember how I used to feel about art at the best of times, and also remember that years have passed since then, and it will never be exactly like that again. Treat yourself with kid gloves, baby yourself, spoon feed yourself about this. It's difficult, but who knows, maybe it will lead you to an even better place with your art. That was a bit heavy, and I don't think, like I said, I'm in the middle of it, so I can't give super solid advice on it yet. This is a topic I will revisit when I'm feeling a lot better about my art and I feel like I have my creative spark back, especially because I feel like right now I'm just so oscillating. There will be one day that I'm like, no, I haven't felt creative in months and years. And then there's some days like today, I'm actually feeling no, I'm actually the most creative and grounded that I've ever been. It's very confusing, it's very weird, and I hope that if you're dealing with it, you're not getting too in your head about it. I think it's good to think about it, but don't overanalyze it, and don't, like I said, don't start thinking about it as if it's some aesthetic art video. It's something that you're going through, it's real, treat it that way, and be really nice to yourself. But yeah, I will revisit this when I think I have a little bit more solid of advice, but for now, that's what I've got for you. Hi, we're going to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an amazing platform that allows entrepreneurs, business owners, artists, creatives, freelancers to create professional websites to represent themselves. At this point, if you are hoping to work creatively, I think having a Squarespace website is a staple because it really provides everything you could need. It is also super accessible. You don't need to be good at code. You don't need to be good at designing a website. It makes it really easy for you. You can choose from a host of beautiful templates, so no matter what you're looking to kind of host on your website, it'll have a template already made for you with all sorts of aesthetics and purposes in mind. But you don't have to adhere strictly to those templates because you can customize them with Fluid Engine. Fluid Engine is this amazing drag and drop software built into Squarespace, so you can unlock all sorts of creativity, and it makes it just so easy. I mean, it's literally drag and drop. You can add all sorts of customizable features to your website, like buttons, links, photos, galleries, scrolling things. It's super easy, it's super pretty, it's super streamlined. And by the end, you've got this super professional looking website for whatever you're trying to do. You can host your portfolio, your online shop. You can put your online shop on your Squarespace. So instead of having all sorts of links to all sorts of websites, you can have it all in one spot. They have membership only areas, so you can put parts of your website behind a lock screen. It's a great way to build community, do fun exclusive stuff. It's the new year. I'm sure a lot of us have goals for our business, for our careers, for our art, and I think Squarespace is something that you should really consider to kind of step up your game this year. I know I'm really excited to finally fully embrace my Squarespace website and put everything over there. I'm really excited about it. If you would like to beautifully and professionally represent yourself online, go to squarespace.com to start your free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/littlestarnerd for 10% off your first website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into the art. So now let's talk a bit about this spread. I only ended up fitting 3 lovely ladies on this spread, but I have a whole host of pins from Pinterest, which is my link, it's always linked down below, so you can see all the references and whatnot. Because these are Pinterest pins, you know, I'm not 100% sure on the accuracy of what I'm drawing. I tried to do some quick research, but all of these specific pins I drew have links that do not lead to sources. They don't even have links sometimes. But I believe, as far as I know, I am drawing some traditional Polish and Czech garb. I believe that the shorter dress is Czech and the longer dress is Polish, I think. For one of my Christmas videos, I drew some characters based off of Pinterest boards. You guys know the challenge, and I got a lot of boards that were heavily inspired by Polish, Russian, Swedish, Czech culture, and folklore. And ever since then, it has been absolutely stuck in my head. I mean, I already was very into Swedish culture and dress because of the Kirsten American Girl doll. You've probably heard me say that before. But those Pinterest boards got me really into more of the Polish traditional clothing. Again, based on very loose and possibly inaccurate research, I believe that what I'm interested in is from the Krakow region, where the garb usually consists of a white blouse, embroidered and beaded vest, floral full skirt and apron, lace-up boots, a coral bead necklace. They also often seem to wear some sort of headscarf, the women do. I don't know if that has a name. The dresses also seem very similar to the Podkarpacie and the Śląsk and Central regions. I know I butchered those pronunciations, I'm sorry. There are just so many beautiful pictures of women wearing these outfits, old photos, old paintings, more recent photos of women dancing and posing together. They're just so stunning. There's something about those outfits that are so satisfying, interesting, especially artistically speaking. They're mesmerizing. I've always really wanted to be able to do very intricate and detailed small patterns in my art. I think it boosts your art, so it makes you look so much more skilled than you are. One of my art goals this year is to go back to my roots where I can. So the other day I scrolled through my own Instagram, took screenshots of things that I wanted to redraw from years ago, and a few of them were figure drawings of people wearing really intricate outfits, or outfits with lots of patterns and colors. There's something so satisfying about representing that like very accurately, realistically. It, like I said, it boosts the overall skill, you know what I mean? It makes the whole piece look more realistic. Like I did this one drawing of Sebastian Stan, and We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and it's him in this like yellow plaid, it's like striped, but it is plaid, but it's not like plaid shirt. And to this day, I cannot get enough of looking at that drawing and at that shirt. Every time I see it, I'm mesmerized. I'm like, wow, I cannot believe I drew that. That's crazy. And I would love to do that again. I would love to make something that gives me that reaction again. And on top of that, like I said, I've always wanted to be able to draw the types of patterns and details that show up on like traditional Polish garb. But frankly, unless it's just lines, which I'm learning I love to do. I love to add a line, I love to add some stripes. I have no patience for it. I thought today I would buckle down and really make it happen, you know what I mean? I was like, you know, it won't be that much work. I've done more complicated drawings. I can do it. Like, I'm gonna make this happen and it's gonna look so slay. But I started doing the skirt of just the first girl, the first one. And I was like, yeah, no, this is too hard for me. I think it's the kind of thing that I could maybe do digitally, but then again, we do open the can of worms of the fact that I'm never really satisfied with my digital art in general. So, you know, it's a lose-lose for me. But yeah, I would love to keep working on this, especially because I would love to be able to come up with this kind of intricate stuff from my head, you know? I find it so hard to create any pattern from my head. It's very, I don't know what it is. I guess my brain just does not think that way. If I'm ever trying to do a pattern on like a shirt, it's gonna be like one line across, maybe some triangles in there. I will say that none of these photos had the exact kind of patterns that okay, so I don't know what it's called, but like when you think of like folk art and like Elsa and Anna, right? Like the patterns that they have on their clothes and that kind of furniture, I would love to be able to do that for my head specifically. And looking at these pins, none of them were exactly like that, probably because they are not the same culture. In these pins, it was either just flowers, or they were entirely random, like not symmetrical on either side of the fabric, or they were just stripes. But I still think it was a great exercise, and I did have to work some muscles for this. I think I just really need to lean into the practice of patience and dedication with my art. I think this is something I run into somewhat frequently. I really gotta stick with it and not give up so easily, just because it takes more time than I thought it would. But also, there seems to be something about my mind that creates a bit of a block when it comes to specifically this. That's certainly something I can work on, and I hope to do so. But yeah, overall, the spread was really fun to do. At times, it was a bit frustrating, not because the photos were giving me a hard time, like the photos themselves, but because, as I said, I was phoning it in the exact places that I wanted to go super hard. I think it's a matter of figuring out the process that I would like to approach these with, because right now I just have no understanding of how I can accurately represent these. You know, I stopped drawing the skirt so I could in marker so I could do it in color pencil, and then realized that's not going to work. And so I think if I do a little bit more practice to figure out how to represent these, it would be easier to tackle the pattern itself. But yeah, I enjoyed drawing these ladies. It felt very classic me, and I really enjoyed that. Who doesn't love a classic figure drawing colored with marker, right? It was fun. It took a while. This was a long drawing day, but I definitely really enjoyed it. It was some great decompression time for me. I would love to get back into specifically sketchbook spreads that remind me of my old sketchbooks. I mean, we talked about how even looking back at those sketchbook spreads that I used to think were so great, I look at them now and I'm like, yeah, I don't even see what I did here that was good. Like, I don't know how I would recreate it because I don't see anything good here. But this spread definitely wasn't the one. I thought it was going to be. It definitely wasn't the one for it. I thought there would be a lot more ladies, but I drew them at a much bigger scale than I thought I would. I'm okay with that. I think it looks great. But yeah, I would really like to, kind of tying back in the discussion from earlier, I would love to keep going with this and lean into the stuff that I used to find really, really fun, comforting, easy, the go-to things. Like when I was bored, I would sit down and I would just crank out drawings like this. Of course, it's never going to be the exact same because that was at a time where I didn't have a social life. All I did was sit at my desk and draw all day for hours on end. And I hopefully will never be back in that place. So it's not going to be quite the same. But I would love to sit down and lean back into this kind of artwork, the artwork where I'm just drawing pretty faces with the colors that I like and drawing pretty clothes, things that are challenging but easy at the same time. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. I found today very fulfilling, and that's all I have to say. All right. Bum, bum, bum. I am super pleased with how it turned out. Like, oh girl, slay. It looks so good in the viewfinder. I love this one specifically. When I saw this pin, I was like, yeah, I gotta draw that. It looks so dramatic. It looks like it could be like a really nice old painting. I was gonna say a Renaissance painting, but I'm so bad at art history. I don't know what era it would be, but it looks like one of those old paintings. Like with a black background, like, oh, slay. The drape of the skirt, it's so pretty. I'm less thrilled with. I feel like the patterns got the best of me, especially over here. It's just hard to the color pencils don't always layer opaquely on top of marker, especially if the marker is dark. So I was scared to do a whole, I really should have covered the whole skirt in the black marker and then done color pencil on top, but I was too scared to do that. And I was like, oh, I'll just fill it in with lots of color pencil. But then I was like, I don't want to sit here and scribble little shapes for an hour. It didn't work well, but I think it's super pretty. I think it's super cute. I was also trying to go for more of one of my classic kind of eclectic, chaotic spreads from way back in the day, and I really didn't achieve that. This just didn't feel like the kind of thing where I add random doodles and words like these beautiful ladies. I didn't want to it would not have fit if I put a funny little saying up in the negative space, you know? So it's not quite what I set out to do, but I think it's super, super pretty, and I'm really happy with it. And, I had a lot of fun getting to sit down and do some personal art. I hope you also took this opportunity to sit down and do some personal art. Let me know what you worked on. I know a lot of us just put these kind of videos in the background, but I really hope that when we have specifically these art dates, that you do draw. I mean, you don't have to, I'm not telling you what to do. I just think it's a great way to set aside time and be like, okay, I'm gonna draw for myself, because we know how hard that is, right? Anyways, I'm rambling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video. I hope you found it. That's all I got for you though. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you check out Squarespace. I am so excited to get a crumb of free time so I can work on my website. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.